Let's face it, a handful of us love the classic look of our older cars, but kinda wish we can bring them up to date just a tad bit. And that's the aim of this video. Upgrade one key component with the features and looks many modern cars offer now in the modern era. So the goal of today's video is to modernize the interior of two older BMWs, an E39 528 and an E70 X5D. And we're gonna tackle each of the cars in two different ways. So for the X5D, we're gonna go pretty extreme here with a massive display, 14.9-inch head unit from Extrons. And for the E39 528, we're approaching it with an OEM plus mindset. So we have a factory looking unit, but with all the modern features you'd like on the car. If you guys have been subscribed to the channel for a while, you guys would be familiar with the 14.9. We've installed it on several of our shop cars, including my wide body F30 335. And it's a very polarizing upgrade because a lot of you guys hate on it and a lot of you guys actually like it and purchase a unit from us. Unlike the F30 and F80 models, for the E70, you will need a bracket that it comes with. As far as accessories, it's a lot of the same stuff. And of course, the main harness here. So the 14.9-inch head unit we're installing has 4 gigabytes of RAM, which from our experience is more than enough for a car infotainment system, 64 gigabytes of storage, and it is running Android 13. But it is compatible with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which can be used wirelessly and doesn't need a cable to be attached to your phone or device. And that's pretty much it for the 14.9-inch. It's pretty much a plug-and-play setup if you follow all the directions, and it can easily be done in the comfort of your own home. All right, moving on to the E39 head unit we're installing today. Depending on the E39 that you have, if you have a pre-LCI car, then you might have a more basic head unit without the screen. LCI units apparently do have a screen and it looks identical to this Extron setup right here. But the cool thing about it is, one, if you have pre-LCI, then you upgrade the look, plus you have all the modern functions. And if you have an LCI, well, you're gonna have all the sweet features that you would normally have on the 14.9, also on this 7-inch display. There is another variation that we offer. It depends on the look that you guys want. We have one that has a much bigger display, 9 and 10-inch. It does eliminate the buttons on the sides and it shrinks the bezels quite a bit since the screen goes from side to side. So depending on what you want, we do have an option for all of you guys. Obviously the one without the buttons is gonna be a full touchscreen display. That's how you would control everything. And this one right here, you have the pleasure, you know, you old school heads, you got the analog volume rocker here, buttons and the buttons. You also get an instructions manual, and you have some additional accessories here, and the main harness right here, which also comes with a CAN bus decoder, which is very important to get this system to work on your E39. We have an Extrons unit available almost for pretty much for all BMWs before the G series model. So a lot of F series and E series cars. We'll leave a link to our website and these specific units down in the video's description. Also, if you have any questions with compatibility or whether you want us to suggest or advise the best unit for your car, you can always reach out to us, support@vehiclehours.com. And to make things even sweeter, we just launched our Black Friday sale, which runs until the end of this week on hundreds of products, and yes, including all the Extrons head units. Literally, this week is the only time of the year we run a sale on so many items at once. Intakes, exhaust systems, digital clusters, head units, headlights, taillights, carbon parts, and more. All at a massive blowout sale. Discounts are automatically applied when you visit vehiclehours.com. Don't miss out. Since this E39 528 doesn't currently have a head unit installed, I'll explain the initial steps using footage from a fellow YouTuber, the Beamer Barn. It's super easy. Use a pry tool on the edges of the radio to pop it out of place. Do the same for the bottom portion and disconnect the plugs. Lastly, you have to remove the factory radio bracket since we will be using the one included with the Extrons unit. There are 4 screws holding the bracket in place that need to be removed. This is probably going to be the most simplest head unit install we've ever done on the channel. So things can change a little bit depending on the setup you have on the E39. You do have 2 options. You got a 12-pin harness looking thing here, and then there's the one we're going to use on this E39. So we'll fully open that up. So you have little indentations here. You'll line it up. The Extrons harness, go like that. Don't ever force anything because you'll bend the pins. Once it's seated, you should be able to slide it in. That is a satisfying click. We'll move on to the antenna connector here. Again, your setup may vary here, so you may need to use this included wire adapter that comes with the Extrons, or just this right here, which in our case, that's all we'll need. We'll connect that here. So once you're installing the brackets, we want it to be like this. So the folded part facing forward, and same with the other side, like that. And we have options, so you can use the factory ones that you remove or one of the included ones. Obviously the head unit has to bolt onto something. There's little holes here on the bracket on the top side. You remove the two little covers that exposes that area. You tighten the screws and then you pop the covers back on, and it's a clean install. All right, so we have the connector plugs in right here. You'll hear that, give it a quick tug, make sure that's good to go. And we have the radio antenna that goes right here. If you do want to add the Wi-Fi extender, here's the connectors for that. The connections for that. Those are screw-on types. Wi-Fi, GPS, 4G plus. Part of the reason we're not installing those antennas, we normally don't, because we like to run our head units with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which receives its information from your cell phone device or tablet or whatever it is. So you don't really need it. As far as the Wi-Fi extender, I've noticed that even without installing it, if you are using local Wi-Fi from your work or your house, I guess the default range is good enough for most people. I've never needed it, to be honest. But if you wanted to do it, you would connect it to these right here, and then you would route it somewhere or hide it somewhere back here, maybe route it to the top part of the dash, and that'll take a little bit, obviously more work, but if you can find it beneficial, then go for it. It is included with your unit. As everybody should do if you purchase a head unit, do not install everything until you test that the screen works and that the audio works, because it would suck to go back in there. There is one cable we forgot to plug in, which is actually tied in to the CAN bus decoder box that comes with the Extron's harness. On the back of the screen, there is a 8-pin slot there. You got an 8-pin connector. You have to plug this in or you won't get audio. This also applies for those that have DSP built in. We already tested it, audio works just fine. Since Ike wants to run the mic, we'll need to connect this. There's a location on the back of the head unit where this would connect to, and that would go right in there. It is a snug fit, so let me be careful here. And the connector we're looking for is this black one, which is labeled mic. So that is where this one's gonna go. Like so, and then we'll figure out where we're gonna route this to. So once you do all that, then you're good to go to install the unit. All right, so we do got the Extron's head unit installed. Go ahead, Ali, do the honors. Oh yeah! Me like it. Now we're gonna go ahead and test the unit, make sure it's okay. When I have an Android device, it'll be Android Auto. And there is a child being abducted. The features on the E39 unit are pretty cool. The screen is nice and vibrant, and the touch functions are quick to respond and super fluid. The home screen normally doesn't look like this out of the box, but Ike already went ahead and started customizing it to his liking. There are a few pre-built themes you can choose to tailor everything. Of course, the biggest selling feature for all our head units is wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Super easy to access and work just like you would see it on many modern cars. Since this unit is powered by Android, the settings are all pretty familiar to most people. Brightness, audio levels, and many other settings can be found here. You can get into the advanced settings by putting in the passcode 0000, which gives a deeper dive into customization like changing the themes and skins. You can swipe down on any screen for shortcuts, and you can manage all the running apps on the multitask window. The car settings section allows you to change certain units like temperature and speed measurements. One of my favorite features about this head unit is that it comes pre-installed with a DSP chip, which gives you some pretty in-depth adjustments when it comes to audio. There are two pre-installed apps that I find super useful. The tire pressure monitor app, which allows you to monitor the car's tire pressure if you purchase the optional equipment, and the torque app that allows you to see engine parameters and scan your car for codes. So the cool thing about having this style of head unit is obviously the buttons on the side. So all you old school heads that don't really like touchscreen displays, well, you can use a lot of the stuff here on the sides to navigate through anything. So obviously you have the home button right here, which works, navigation, which pops up automatically, media, the mute button, the Bluetooth menu, which is also there, The volume knob, right? Don't we miss these guys? Don't we miss the volume knob? Yep, it's here. And then I have these numbers here that serve as shortcuts. Once you set them up, then you can, I guess, assign them to whatever app you want, and it opens it up. All right, so we're moving on to the E70. So unlike the F chassis regular cars, sedans, F30 and stuff, you normally have trim that goes all the way across. You would remove that, and then you would have access to all the hardware, but this doesn't really come off. So we're gonna leave that open for now. Once we remove this right here, we'll have access to some of the screws, both for the screen and this big bezel here, and then the bottom portion here. So I guess let's go ahead and begin. Let's see if I need a trim tool or not. All right, we have a few connectors in the back that we have to pull off. All right, so we have the main connector right here. These are one of those, you just kind of have to pull connectors, and typically they're really hard to do. Oh, well, that wasn't too bad. You need this, guys, to run the original iDrive menu. This is obviously the connector for that. So this gets transferred over to the new screen, and I'm almost positive that this connector here doesn't get used because we'll be using the Extron's harness for the power supply and all the other information. So here's what it looks like. This piece of screen, honestly. Look at this crap. So you have a few connectors here. This one will push the little button, release. Go ahead and push and pull.
That thing looks ashy as hell.
That mother is ashy.
Oh God.
How much you think I can get for that?
Why does it look like the size of an
I don't think you can give this away for free, bro. It's a tough one. There you go. I guess we're ready to install the Extron's unit. This is pretty much all the space that you need. I will mention this on every video until it becomes annoying, because a good chunk of you guys reach out and say, I have no audio. What do I do? One of the main things you have to do is the green and black fiber optic needs to be transferred over to the Extron's harness. 100%. That's you have to do that, guys, or you won't get audio. So look at the orientation. It's on the outer side of the harness. There is a little tab there that you should be able to push in a little bit and pull it out. You remove this, you have to transfer that over. The second thing you're going to need to get audio, which is pretty much necessary on 90% of the applications, the aux cable is needed. You'll either get the Extron's harness with the aux cable already pre-plugged in. They never used to do that, but since people kept missing the step, I guess they plug it in right out the box so you don't mess up. This needs to be routed over to the center area where you have an aux port, guys. There's an aux port there that has to go there. Obviously, you're not gonna wanna run it above because that's gonna look ugly unless you don't care. We'll route it underneath the center console or around the edges here, and we'll snake it up underneath this little cubby area. So first thing we're gonna do is we'll put that in the same orientation, which should only go in one way. Don't use the inner slot. It has to be the outside one. Like, you'll hear it click. Locks into place, give it a nice little tug, we're good. This needs to be routed over to the top section here. That's where the screen's gonna go. This is the main connector for the 14.9-inch display. If you have any other accessories and stuff that you wanna run, then you would use all the extra stuff. The mic, this is one thing you might wanna use, especially if you wanna do a lot of hands-free calling. Without this, the person won't be able to hear you that clear. The built-in mic on the head unit's not that good. If you do opt in to go to the factory OEM iDrive, then you can use the factory mic that's in the car, but if you use the Extron's interface, you would have to use this. So this would be a perfect time to plug it into where it says mic, then you can route it around this way maybe and let it be like right here. That's how I did it on my F30. We'll put it right there. All right, let's go ahead and install the Extron's harness. And then we'll slide it in, then you close the latch and it'll lock everything into place. Literally, guys, this is a plug and play setup. It is so simple to do. So now the male side of the Extron's harness is gonna go to the back of your head unit brain. So we'll do the same thing. We'll open up the latch. There you go. We have a few updates, unfortunately. Actually, there's actually a good update and then there's a not so good update. The good update for us, we didn't have to run the aux cable. We actually tested it out off camera, and whatever sound system this car has,
Hey! Turn that up! Hey! 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 Shut your up! Get your ass over there. Tell him to turn off.
go over there! Tell him to turn it off. I see my whistle, my Puerto Rican whistle still work, even though I ain't Puerto Rican. It don't work.
It definitely didn't work.
Burp, burp, burp. All right, we'll be back. We actually tested the audio off camera and it worked with just, this normally comes in pre-plugged in, RCA in, RCA out. We plugged that in, didn't use the aux cord, and it worked. So once you're installing the head unit, you might want to test that to see if you will or will not need it. All right, on to the bad news. This is the wrong screen for this car. We have here the CIC display, which as you can see by the little 4-pin connector. And for CCC, you need this style of connector right here. The Xtron's interface will work. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto will work. Bluetooth music, everything works. You just won't be able to get into your factory menu where you normally can check the car status, you know, tire pressure monitor and stuff like that. So we'll still continue the video today so we can at least show you some of the features with the Xtron's head unit. And in the future, we can just slide this out of the bracket and we can install the proper screen that will utilize this connector right here. Again, if you have any questions about any of this stuff and you want to determine what, you know, model is your car or what kind of connection it uses, you can always reach out to us at support@vehiclerivals.com, or you can go to the website and just start a chat. This way, right here. Slide this in here. Just like that. This one go here. That connector's going in right here. We'll press it on there. There you go. So essentially you have to line it up here with these tabs. So we'll put that in there. All right, let's see if the hidden glove box actually opens up.
It's crispy.
That is super crispy. The display looks amazing. It's large, the colors are vibrant, and the navigation is buttery smooth. You can either control the display by either using the factory iDrive controls on the center console, or you can just use the touchscreen display. The home screen layout looks super modern, and you can even customize it to fit your needs. You can even add shortcuts to the main menu, which is very cool and very convenient. Going into the app screen, you can see all the pre-installed apps, and since the display is run by Android 13, you can head over to the App Store and install pretty much anything you'd normally find on a smartphone or tablet. The dashboard app was super interesting. It's essentially a digital cluster, probably not super useful for the driver as they'd want to focus on the road while driving and not the infotainment display. That said, the UI looks clean and modern. Just like a modern car that comes with CarPlay, you can multitask between apps, which is when having a bigger screen is super beneficial. The unit settings menu is super self-explanatory. And I even found a video in motion option, which by the way I do not recommend using, but could probably be useful for your passengers. And yes, you still have access to your OEM iDrive interface with this upgrade. Either hold the menu button on the center console for a few seconds or select car device from the home menu. If connected to the internet or some sort of a hotspot connection, you can use apps like YouTube and browser, which works flawlessly on the Xtron's unit. Obviously, because of the screen's dimensions, watching a YouTube video full screen doesn't really work well because you'd be cutting out some of the footage, but at least the flexibility is there. Yes, you like it, bro? A lot of you guys think that once you upgrade head unit on these cars, you lose audio quality because of the aux cable situation. We tend to see an increase in quality of music, not a decrease, especially you go into the settings and you tweak the equalizer and all the stuff that's included with the DSP chip option on the head unit. Hey DJ, play some shit, bruh.
I can confirm my F30 sounds way better now.
There you go. That's proof right there. Woo! That shit sound good. Damn. And hey.
I got 212s, dog.
Hey. So now that you heard the sound quality, an unbiased opinion going on here, can you please tell me, does it actually sound better than the factory unit?
It actually sounds way better.
Right?
With the Xtron's. Before I was just like a little head nod. Now I'm like.
Well, there you have it. 2 older, outdated BMWs successfully modernized. Make sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.